2, 1.
Here we go!
All right, it looks like we're just a couple minutes past the hour, so we'll go ahead and get started. Again, this is Driving Revenue Through Customization, our webinar this month. Really thrilled to have 3 fantastic partners and guests joining me today to just really introduce some ways that they are really leveraging customization in their day-to-day and how they're instilling that process with their organization. So I'd like to welcome Adam Becker from the San Diego Seals, John Ketzlack from Brooklyn Sports and Entertainment and the Brooklyn Nets, and Kevin Nelson with the Minnesota Twins. So thank you all so much for joining.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. And before we jump into any content, maybe do each of you just want to kind of introduce kind of your role at the organization, maybe how long you've been there too. Just thought it would be helpful for the group to kind of know who they're talking with today. I'll start, and I'm Christy Grady Murray. I am with Sportsdigta. I have been here for a little over 8.5 years and just thrilled to be on today with this great group of guests. And Adam, I'll start with you because you're on the top of my screen here.
Hi, everyone. My name is Adam Becker. I'm the Senior Director of Corporate Partnerships for the San Diego Seals. I've been in the role for about 2.5 years. This is my 3rd season. We're in the midst of a playoff run. We're in the semifinals this Friday. And so it's been a great ride.
Fantastic. Thanks so much, Adam. John, how about you?
Yeah. Hi, everyone. My name is John Ketzlack. I'm the Director of Membership Services at BSE Global, specifically with Brooklyn Nets season ticket members. I've been in this role for a little under 2 years and have really been working to build a solid season ticket base and foundation to our process.
Awesome. Thanks so much, John. And Kevin, we go way back. Excited to have you on.
Yeah, good to talk to you, Christy. My name's Kevin Nelson. I am the Manager of Strategy and Research in our brand partnerships team at the Twins. This is going on the 3rd season in strategy and research. And then previously I was on our activation team for 5 years previous to that. So about 7-8 years with the Twins now. Yeah, excited for today.
Fantastic. Thank you guys so much. So just as normal, when we give our webinars, we usually like to break it out into kind of 3 parts of the conversation. So we're going to go ahead and start just initially with leveraging our tech stack. So just again, quick reminder of who you're on with today. But from a general standpoint, before I jump in, is really just giving you a little sense of Sportsdigta and DIGIDECK. So obviously we're working across many industries, both in the sports landscape and outside of sports. And I think our trajectory as an organization, we've just really worked to leverage technology and the tech stack that our partners are using to help them create more efficiency, automation, but also still have that key customization, which is the theme today around how are you truly creating a customized experience for the brands you're working with, for the season ticket members that you have, to really engage with them and get them to be a part of the organization. So excited again to kind of break this out into 3 different parts. The first one being really kind of the first takeaway of leveraging your tech stack. So Kevin, I'm going to go ahead and start with you just in general, talking about the technologies that you all are leveraging at the Twins to really create those custom experiences for activation that you are executing for your partners that you're working with. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, from a strategy and research side, we're using, a lot of media evaluation tools so we can understand how our assets are performing just on a TV broadcast, radio broadcast, all those things. And then a lot of it, what we're doing is using some market research tools like YouGov and things to really try to identify who our prospects, customers are and how we can utilize our assets and various activations to really reach those customers. It's not about we have an activation in mind and we're going to pitch it to every single customer. We really want to take some time to understand who their customers are. What are their goals with a partnership? Not everyone has the same goal, and not every company has the goal that you originally think they have going into discussions. Mm-hmm. And then we can use, we use the DIGIDECK to build out all the presentations. And my role is kind of the lead part of that, working with our activation and sales team to put those together so we can really tell that story I know I mentioned this before when we chatted, Christy, but we use a lot of the DigiDeck comments so that when people are working at home, we can all be on the same page directly and efficiently working and building out these things so we can have a story that really gives the brand a perspective of what it means to be a partner with the Twins and how we can effectively help them in their marketing.
Well, I think, you know, we've talked before about this, Kevin, just the ability to collaborate through those comments, but just that these groups maybe would have operated in silos before, and really kind of as you're learning more about these brands, being able to leverage that ability to collaborate even when you're remote, right? Because you can't just walk down the hall and talk to someone anymore because people have a hybrid work environment. So love that you guys are leveraging that. Awesome. Adam, I'm going to kind of jump to you when you think about when we spoke previously, you had mentioned, you know, we're trying to do more with less. We have less headcount. So how can we leverage technology to help us really make sure that we are executing and that we're able to talk to as many partners as possible and really engage with your ticket members as well? So can you tell us a little bit about how you've really leveraged technology just even from a staffing perspective?
Yeah. And a little bit more context. So some folks may not know what the San Diego Seals are. We're a member of the National Lacrosse League. So it's the third largest indoor professional sports league. And so, we really have to utilize technology to maximize our efficiency. As we continue to grow and develop, we're going to continue to add headcount. I am thankful to say that the success we've achieved through some of these strategies has allowed me to hire a new individual that's going to be joining the team here within the next little while. But a lot of it really boils down to kind of the learned skill set of time management, right? And being able to utilize your processes efficiently. And so, creating that process and implementing that process using the tools at your disposal, from your CRM to DIGIDECK to, tracking documentation on activations and planning and strategy. It's been really critical for us to focus on, technology at hand to be able to utilize the time that we do have to interface with our partners, and then utilize that time to, prioritize outbound sales efforts and so forth. So really critical for us, but it's been working.
Yeah. Awesome. Love it. And John, I know, just in working with you on establishing our partnership and kind of the custom solution for what you guys really wanted to leverage, you have a lot of different pieces of technology that you're syncing together and really kind of evaluating that data on an ongoing basis. Can you talk about just the tech stack that you all have put together and sort of how you have used that to help automate the custom and customize at the same time? I just combined the two words, but maybe I created a new word there, but how you automate that customization and really create that unique experience for each of your ticket members when you're working through those relationships.
Yeah, for sure. So we are a platform company at BSE Global. And, what that means is we want our net season ticket members to have the same access to the New York Liberty, to Barclays Center events, to anything going on under our umbrella, including, our Glide ice skating rink. And in order to do that, we need to know who our members are. And that was very important as we went through our renewal process. We instituted auto renewal for the first time, which is a major move for our business. But in order to do that comfortably, we wanted to make sure that we understood, what was the pulse going to be like from the season ticket base? Was this going to be received as something that was aggressive, or was this going to be fan friendly? Then those who didn't understand the benefit to them, we needed to target them with a little bit different of approach, more education tools to showing them the benefits to them as season ticket members. So we get very, customizable with things like Sendoso gifting, with different vendors like our Salesforce tool. We get really in depth with our text templates, with our cadences. And then automation wise, DigiDeck was a huge add, especially for our auto renewal process, because it gave us the ability to customize the renewal personal URL, but also to track the actions of each person, right? So like our service team could then go out to members who were not interacting with their DigiDeck Pearl and call them with a little bit different of a touch point than somebody who looked at it and just not taken action, since it is an auto renewal feature. We got really creative with our, post-renewal or pre-renewal surveys. And, from our satisfaction numbers, we did predict about an 80% auto renewal rate, which was massive for our business. And It was great to see us coming in right at that number. Just meant that everything was aligned. And that was just for our renewal piece. Now, as we get more in depth with using DigiDeck as like a pitch deck, we're going to broaden that to not only be, for renewals, but for new businesses, for specific high-end piece of our businesses, like our Crown Club courtside seats. Like we wanted to give them a specific touch, specific feel, and DigiDeck really allowed us to brand that the way we wanted.
Awesome. Love it. And I'll showcase that a little bit later in the conversation, just if people want to see a visual of that. I think there were some pretty cool things that you guys did within that process and that auto renewal campaign. So I'll definitely share a visual here in a moment. Kind of the second real takeaway that we wanted to cover is just about really simplifying and customizing that buying process, because we can customize things all we want, but it still needs to be an easy process for someone to be able to go through, whether that is a partner deciding to leverage a relationship with the Seals or the Twins, or if it's a ticket member for any of the organizations as well, that it needs to also be simple. So, Kevin, how do you ensure that your conversations that you have are custom to the audience, but also make it kind of a simplified approach for them? And really kind of leveraging the uniqueness that the Twins have to offer for different things that you're presenting.
Yeah, I mean, it takes approaching every opportunity kind of uniquely, which again might not be the most efficient, but it allows us to really get custom to each prospect and each partner. As strategy and research, we don't really focus that much on the end buying process. We really want to hit on the top of the sales process. So we're really digging into what that client is looking for, what are their expectations, and what are their needs as, a marketing group. So we can take those, work with our operations team, work with every other team within our organization to really identify what are the pain points and what are the opportunities that we can provide to them. And then building that out as a story in the DigiDeck to really show that we understand what they're doing and what they're trying to get out of this, and that we're looking to help them create a solution to their problem, not just spend the money to hopefully help the marketing effort.
Yeah. And I mean, I think one of the things that we're seeing too, just across different partners that we're working with, and similar to your situation, right, is really understanding their point of view. Like, where are they coming from? Because what you might assume their pain points might be completely different based on their new objectives that they have. I feel like all businesses are certainly always evolving. So what you knew about a company 6 months ago might be different, and how those conversations are coming into play, even for some of the renewals that you guys are going through, right? Where you're kind of starting that process over from a strategy standpoint because those companies are evolving.
Yeah, we're definitely having to brainstorm on partners multiple times throughout the year. And then through that, we're in our decks, we're trying to show through custom mock-ups that we're listening to them. We're hearing what they have to say. We might not have it nailed down 100%, but we're trying to work with them to figure out the best opportunity rather than just present them and have a yes or no conversation.
Yeah, absolutely. So good kind of segue into Adam, when we talked about this portion. Kind of when you think through your partnership sales conversations, there's things that you guys are doing from a process standpoint. I have an example I can pull up and share as well, but do you want to just talk a little bit about your ideation process and what that looks like, how you guys are approaching this?
Yeah, absolutely. Just a little bit of, I guess, some of the secret sauce that's been working for us. So hopefully this is helpful context, but ultimately it's a lot of relationships, not transactions. But in this process, I've kind of outlined, 3 steps that I found a lot of success with. And so having that good intro call and having some follow-up information for, the who, what, where, when, whys, and that is what I call as an intro deck. But when you're in that intro call, it's really asking a lot of meaningful questions, right? Like understanding what the priorities are for next quarter, next 6 months, next year. What kind of concepts have worked for you in the past and what kind of concepts have not worked for you, right? It's good to get the feedback of what hasn't worked. Asking those meaningful questions can really help to lead to the kind of next phase, which is what I call the ideation deck. And so that ideation deck is understanding those questions and getting those answers kind of solved in that intro question to align partner goals with current initiatives that we're currently operating within, or helping to create new opportunities for us to do together. And so this is an example that's pulled up on the screen here of one of our great partners in Grady Children's Hospital, San Diego, in which our player intros are kind of a very unique element to our game day experience, in which there's pyrotechnics and fireworks, and it's a big culminating moment. It's a fun one. And so Grady Children's Hospital does a tremendous job in the community of helping kids who are going through unbelievably difficult circumstances and creating a memorable moment. And so this is an example of the Grady Children's honorary player of the game. And you can see that the smiles and cheers and just this celebration moment that was brought to life through this ideation deck. And so, it's connecting the brand to the activation. The visuals tell a really powerful story. This is something that has taken place this season, really special. But the kind of third phase of the process that I have is through that ideation deck, you kind of listen, understand, ask those meaningful questions. And then as you're reviewing it with a partner, kind of pulling back what didn't connect, right? Maybe that didn't quite fit, but you can kind of catch on the oohs and ahs of, I love that idea. That helps do it. We're going to tweak it this way. Removing those assets that are unwanted, and then assembling, packages based off of what's important for the partner and kind of where they would like to jump in and support and tell that story.
Well, and I think just you guys definitely push the envelope with doing some very unique things for your partners, very outside of the box ideas too, which is great. Love to see, I can't wait to see what you come up with. I know you're already pitching a number of great ideas for next season. So hopefully on a future webinar, you can share some of those crazy ideas that you're throwing out there, but partners are really, gravitating towards them because it is unique and something a little bit different and pushing the envelope more, at your games.
Certainly. I think people can recognize an ad a mile away, but telling a great story is something that's impactful and memorable for the fans, and that connects that brand in a more meaningful way. Yeah.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Adam. And John, you alluded to this a little earlier, but when you think about kind of the audiences that you're communicating with, obviously your Crown Club members different than your general ticket members, especially through that auto renewal campaign. So I have some visuals to share, but do you want to talk through a little bit about that process and maybe even how you are also leveraging that information back to your data warehouse and other things that you guys are doing there? Because I know that's a big, right? Really leveraging the data overall that you're getting from the engagement.
Yeah. So Christy, we, as we look at our just general Nets level members, the biggest piece for us is when we talk about building out a membership platform, we want to make it so it's not just tickets to a basketball game, right? We wanted to categorize our members into really 4 buckets, being super fans, being corporate members using tickets for business, being family members that, like to make impactful moments with their children, and then social members who just like the aura of being at Barclays Center and just having a night out. As we have evolved the membership, we've also worked with CrowdPlay on a loyalty program, which kind of coupled with that feature of who you are as a member, where that really provides our members with specific events and, allows us to tell the story of, what is a value add to each member, right? If they, you use tickets because you want to be connected to the team, we want that to show, hey, this is going to give you more access. If you use tickets to, further your business, we want to show, hey, the value adds here is that you're going to meet people that you wouldn't meet before. And so we took that data and we broke down the numbers of how many fans we have in each, and that allowed us to budget correctly and provide the right benefits and events, for those specific groups. Working with CrowdPlay at the same time as a loyalty program helped us drive the activity that we wanted for further renewals, right? Helped us really target the right people with giving additional, basically, money, like points in the form of, money that people can spend on gifts, can spend on upgrades, can spend on concert tickets, and giving them the push that if they go to more games and get further ingrained in the Brooklyn Nets and Barclays Center, they'll just get more points. And that just drives that we want them to drive. So that was the huge start for us in looking at who our members are and then helping us continue to grow our base by understanding what we currently have. Then the next part of it is going to that crown piece, which I think you were showing, that is where we need to look at it a little bit differently, right? Our general members are very far off from our crown members who are, potentially $1 million investments on some of these floor seats. And the experience that we have at Barclays Center with our Crown Club, it's different than any place I've ever seen in the country, where, we have this space that is really supposed to, be a dining experience. It's supposed to be a New York City dining experience, not just like a game. It's supposed to be a sit down, like fully catered 4-course meal with top of the line options for Major Food Group and Carbone, to, a very, very exclusive high-end wine list. So we need every element of that experience to look like that, right? What we're doing benefit-wise for that group is far different, where we're really trying to get into experiences. And our team on that side has done a really nice job, creating really impactful events where it's not your typical like autograph signing or even like a networking event for a business, but it's trips to Austin to watch the Nets take on the Spurs, right? It's, trips to or like a group going to the US Open in a high-end club space, and just really creating a, top of the line networking experience for high level individuals who really want to feel that they are getting a lot more value than just being on the floor seats at a Nets game. And part of that is making sure that when we send them, their cost, it's a fun experience and they understand that difference, which DIGIDECK really allowed, which was great. For us to not just send those, multiple year commitment deals, an email saying, oh, it's time to pay your bill again, but really make it fun and tying into the piece of the Crown Club that they really enjoyed, got our business, settled a lot quicker, which was great.
Fantastic. Love it. Love it. I think, that's really a great point too, is again, like, while you are simplifying your engagement, with the different fans and different levels, the customization and making sure that you are differentiating Crown Club versus a general ticket member, but still offering amazing benefits to those ticket members who do want to, they can choose to execute their points when they want, right? So if they're saving for something in particular, they can keep saving. If there's something else that they want, it is that customized feel for them, which I think is great. Just that loyalty side of it, just instilling that engagement with your brand. We have a number of questions kind of popping up in the chat. So there's a lot that have come in. I certainly am happy to kind of try to address some of those at the end. And then I know that our team is also monitoring that. So just to know that you will be heard, and I'll continue to look at the Q&A portion as well. But thanks you guys for engaging in conversation. The next takeaway, our third takeaway, is really around just kind of leveraging a common ground to engage with your partners and your fans, and just thinking through how that's done. Kevin, I have a couple of visuals that I can pull up to share on this for you, but one of the things we talked about is just the brand brief process. Can you talk a little bit about kind of how you're creating that common ground for your team and how they're communicating with the strategy team to make requests of things that they need, from a brand perspective?
Yeah, as we talk about, when we initially go into conversations, use the example with Winnebago, is when we think about Winnebago and Winnebago Industries, we all thought of RVs and camping, all that thing. But with a brand brief, our sales team is able to, ask some overarching questions about what it is they're trying to get out of a partnership, what they're looking for, what are their initiatives that they have coming up this year, in the coming years. So as we have a multi-year partnership, we can kind of decide how we can evolve this partnership from the start, so we can start shaping those ideas. And when we had those conversations with Winnebago, it seemed like their Barletta and Chris Craft boat pontoon brands is what really sparked their interest. So we took that to our team, our ticket sales team, our operations team, and figured out what can we do to really make something unique with a pontoon brand in the ballpark. So the idea that came out of that was to build a pontoon loge box in right field. So we have built this area where formerly our productions team was based out of this little cutout, and they were operating the in-game program. So now it's become, 6 captain seats with some pontoon style bench seats behind it. And it's been a hit. I would say from my friends' feedback, it's ridiculous, but not ridiculous in a bad way. It's just ridiculously funny. Minnesota is known for lake life, so it hits well with the fans. The approach and everything turned out well. So it's cool to see something as we approach it with an RV initially, to take a 180 into a different brand of Winnebago Industries and really, hit their objectives of showing their pontoon brands.
Yeah, love it. Love it. And I know that there was one other example that we kind of talked about that might be good to share, and that's just your Twins and Thrivent partnership and kind of how that came about as far as finding that common ground with Thrivent.
Yeah, so one of those questions you want to ask is, what do you want out of a partnership? Are you looking for awareness? Are you looking for people to sign up? Thrivent, what they really said is they just want to have a partnership with a purpose. They weren't looking to go viral on anything. They just really wanted an opportunity to give back. They have their Live Generously program that they do with their employees. So that really hit us of how we could build something for our fans to help give back to local community businesses and really make an impact. So fans are able to vote. There's 3 different segments throughout the season with 4 different nonprofit groups. So fans are able to vote and help donate money to each one of these nonprofits. And in my discussions with our community group, who's really leading this activation, it's been amazing. These nonprofits are coming together and helping each other more than they are competing against each other for any amount of donation. So it's created a really great community within the Twin Cities for our nonprofit groups to make a bigger impact and impact more lives. And I think it's been awesome because Thrivent and the Twins and a lot of these, donation things, our values just lined up really well in what we were trying to get out of this. So it allows our team to really make the best decision for both groups going forward and how we want to operate this without losing sight in how the Twins want to be impactful in the community and having a partner tell our group what needs to happen. It's really been a collaborative effort to say, like, any decision we make really benefits both groups.
Yeah. No, love it. Love it. Both definitely were unique to that partner's objective, but also just fit with the Twins and your objectives as an organization as well. So really finding, again, the common ground piece is super relevant. Adam, I know, obviously the sport of lacrosse, it's such a fast growing sport in the States here. And, it's outside of the traditional sports space, so to speak. And you talk about kind of how you're engaging with fans and partners and even some of the education process that you put in play during those conversations that you're having. But can you talk a little bit just about how you use the sport of lacrosse as a leverage point for you as well when you are having those conversations?
Yeah. Being out here on the West Coast, so many people think lacrosse is that East Coast Ivy League sport, and many just think the outdoor version. And so, a little background, I was with the Colorado Mammoth for nearly a decade before I came out to San Diego, and it was one of those hot spots for lacrosse growing. And so, there's sellout crowds, throughout the NLL, and we're building that out here in San Diego. And so, we just got into the LA 2028 Olympic Games, which is really important for that education piece. There's 92 nations globally that are now playing this sport. And so part of that messaging is like, get in on the ground floor now while we take off and realize the benefits of partnering now is kind of is a lot of the messaging that we're doing. Because the NLL is very different from the outdoor game. It's a very immersive product. It's an entertainment first. And so we don't have a lot of red tape when it comes to doing crazy out of the box ideas. And we've done a whole bunch. I know we talked about it a little bit briefly, like Nickelodeon slime time activations, just using storytelling opportunities are designed in the NLL product. But in addition to that, it's like, you have great access to players, right? The players are incredibly accessible in market. The best players in the world play this sport, and it's a lot of the elite ownership groups. In fact, Jonathan and I share a common owner in Joe Tai. And so that's part of the storytelling that's been really critical for us to show where we're headed. And so, as we're continue to grow, we're very self-aware that we may not have, NFL or NBA or MLB numbers on a game by game basis, but the sport of lacrosse, while growing, has a tremendous passion. And so while you have incredibly passionate fans that care about lacrosse, if you care about something they care about, they return that tenfold. And so that's something that's really special for us. And ultimately the last thing, shameless plug for DigiDeck, it's an elevated presentation tool, right?
Yeah.
Like it adds credibility, it adds legitimacy, and it adds a wow factor in our pitch decks that helps to showcase this is, the next major league.
Yeah, fantastic. Love it. And I've definitely, in my past life, I too was with the Colorado Mammoth, and had an opportunity to work in lacrosse. And it is, if anyone on the call has not been to an NLL game, it's a unique experience. Definitely get out there. It's a really entertaining experience, and a lot of great athletes down on the field too. It's just a really unique experience. So I would encourage you to attend. For a shameless plug back to you, Adam, for NLL and for the Seals specifically. Who doesn't want to fly out to San Diego to go to a lacrosse game too? Seriously, we all want to get out to your nice 70 degrees and sunny pretty much almost every day of the year, if not warmer. So, Jonathan, just kind of going back to you here on this question, really around that common ground. When you, what are some of the ways that you guys are finding that common ground for the various audiences that you talked a lot about the different groups that you're speaking with. So can you tell us a little bit about kind of what process you're going through to find that common ground for the different groups?
Yeah, so, that's a good question, Christy. It all goes back to understanding what's going to be impactful. I think it's very simple to say season ticket holders, your fans that are at every game want to meet players. However, you need to temper the expectation, right? Like the expectation can't be that every member is going to meet every player, because number one, that becomes less of a benefit. And number two, that's not realistic. What's really important to us, we use Medallia as a survey tool, and they allow us to do is basically, create really creative ways of gathering information. So like if we're going to say rank your benefits, like what does the answers actually mean? We expect that the price is going to come up commonly, but like what answer are we looking for to really tell that story? And then I think for us, the really fun part has been like being willing to try things out, knowing that, we want to create a core fan base. We want to create a core season ticket base where like these season ticket holders are going to be here and being a part of what we build. So some of the events that we've run are because we get feedback that members really like getting upgrades. Okay, well, how do we run an event that's going to give them the same feel as getting additional value? And a lot of that has been around like our shows and concerts. We're lucky at BSE to have one of the premier, venues in the country, and being in a market that we will get fantastic shows. So how do we create like a party, for Brooklyn Nets season ticket holders at a Drake show or like a top of the line concert that gives that value in a different way, and then becomes, part of a group that those people then realize like, hey, these other people are with me. It's not just my membership, it's our membership. So that's been huge. And then as we continue to build our membership, it's really important to know like, what are the benefits that not only have value, but we can continue to deliver at a very high level? So we need to know what's the satisfaction with things like our loyalty program. Building a loyalty program is a great concept, but if no one's buying into it and you're not using it and it's not driving anything other than the same behaviors, it really doesn't have any impact on your business. So it's been great kind of watching that develop and grow and seeing those people, now buy into something like auto renewal because they understand like there is benefit to everything new that develops. It's not just changing, but it's impacting the experience for the better. So we're always looking to find the common ground. We're always looking to, hear feedback from members. We're training our staff that's a good thing. It's not scary. If members, are frustrated with something, it's not like a bad thing. It's an opportunity for us to either grow and really give them an experience they appreciate, or explain, what we do instead, or what we do in a different way and why we do it that way.
Yeah. Love it. Love it. All great points. And we have a few questions that came in, you guys, and I'm going to throw Adam. One is coming to you. One of the attendees was asking, what were the 3 names of the types of decks that you make in the sales process? They missed kind of what you said when you talk about kind of your intro discovery conversation and ideation, and they're just one of the attendees was asking what those 3 types were that you mentioned.
Yeah. So first deck is an intro deck, right? That's basically covering the who, what, where, when, and why. So after the intro call, you can send that over to kind of buy a little bit of time to create an ideation deck, which is phase 2, which is understanding the questions that were asked. and creating a bunch of brainstormed ideas to be able to share with the partner based on what you heard them say. The final deck is the proposal deck, which allows you to, understand if the ideas were connecting and which ones maybe didn't quite connect, and then tailor packages based off of that in a proposal.
Love it. Thank you so much, Adam, for clarifying. And then, John, this other question is really geared towards you. When I pulled up the Nets example, someone asked, how did you know what name to use on the menu? Was it a manual process? What was that like? Do you want to go ahead and answer that?
Yes, definitely. So, as we built DigiDeck, my primary use case was going to be our renewal program, right? So we're turning a tool that's primarily built for one-to-one presentations into a tool that we're going to go out with into a, 2,000 different member like renewal pitch. I'll give a shout out to, on the DigiDeck side, Matt Burke and Jilly and Christy. They were phenomenal in helping us build those integrations internally using, I believe it's Zapier, to communicate to our sales force to pull all that information correctly. We did a lot of test runs, a lot of, build outs and coding in the background, which those guys are way better than I am or would have any clue of. But it was very cool to see the product, which was literally just clicking a button and running, thousands and thousands of decks at once because of all the information that we had collected in our sales force. So what we did basically internally on the net side is we created an invoice pop. That is our renewal number that does have all the information that needs to pull to each deck. Then we can run them all confidently before hitting send and invoicing the greater population.
Love it. So, basically, just to kind of summarize for the group, just the ability to create a mass number of auto renewals all going out at the same time in that automated way. And, Jonathan specifically mentioned they're using Salesforce, but really just looking at your tech stack overall, there's integrations with Dynamics, with HubSpot, with a number of other CRM tools, as well as data warehouse, marketing automation tools. So a ton that's possible. I think the key is really just looking at the tech stack you have and how can we help you create more efficiency. And that was really the task in the initial conversation when we sat down together, John, to discuss what might be possible. And I think the sky's the limit. Excited to see what else we come up with in working with you guys on continued automation, but still maintaining that customization that's been so key to you engaging and having that 80% plus renewal, auto renewal rate come through. One of the other questions was really around just what does the strategy part of sponsorship entail and how is it different than the traditional partnership responsibilities? Noticing it was in your job title. Is it a newer trend, Kevin? So just kind of getting your take on that.
Yeah, I think it is a pretty newish trend. We built out our strategy and research arm at the end of 2022. So what we wanted to do was kind of take what our business strategy team was doing and really have more full-time focus on the sponsorship side. So strategy being around prospecting, what industries should we be going after, helping our sales team take some of that early prospecting off their plate so they can really focus on selling. Another part of that strategy is helping our activation team. How do we approach recaps? What might need to change? And how can our team help them facilitate and work on those client service aspects of their job? So really just helping focus and getting a little more granular in some of the strategies that we were already doing before the strategy research team was built out. So we can really make sure that, as strategy and research, we're taking it as we're consulting with our activation team. We're consulting our sales team on the approaches they should be taking so that they can do their jobs more efficiently.
Yeah. And this one, kind of an interesting question too, since, background here on this call are folks in the sports industry, but outside of sports, how do you find a common ground with your prospects if you don't have big budgets and fancy sports activations? So any of you guys want to tackle that? I'm happy to chime in as well, but just curious to get your take.
Yeah, I could start because that's something that we're really working on with our staff. For us, like we're trying to go away from the conversation of sports right now because the playoffs are going on and we're not in it. So what we're really doing is looking at, number one, where people work. Like we're in New York City, we're in Brooklyn. We know like we can find common ground with, the stresses that number one, people deal with their job, and number two, like what their jobs are and how we can impact their business if we just talk to them as fans. The other, which is really great, is, especially in this market, you have people who live here and move here for the experience of going to restaurants all around the city, the experience of going to shows, the experience of, being in New York City and like finding out what those things are. We can all relate to that. Learning where a top of the line restaurant that somebody's been dying to go to in the Upper East Side is, and trying to make that happen subtly is really fun. Just like it is learning about, where their kids go to school and, what youth sports they play, and then connecting it back to our product at the end of the day. But for us, customization starts with the people. Like customization starts with our reps' ability to learn about the clients, so especially on the ticket sales side, where we have a lot of, passionate conversations. We really need to do a lot of discovery to learn about our people and, where we can connect to them as other human beings.
Love it. It's like somebody teed that up for you, John. That was the perfect answer and really relevant, and that is a fancy sports team, but to your point, right? You're trying to leverage the non-sports side of your business and just getting to know the people. I think it really comes down to that relationship side, and the relationship is so key in the partnership conversations with Adam that you're having and Kevin from a brand perspective, but also in those season ticket member conversations, because people want to feel heard and they want to be, tied to an organization or a company that they might be working with that they align with, and they have that common ground that we come back to. So really, we're coming right up about on 45 minutes, and I want to be respectful of everyone's time. We had some great Q&A that came in there. So thank you all so much for engaging. I did just want to mention, I know we had a great group of both, prospects and clients on the call today. Given everything we discussed, if you want to learn more and you're interested, there'll be a pop-up that's going to come up on your screen now. So please feel free to answer the question if you want to be connected with someone on our team to learn a little bit more. Obviously, I'm happy to jump on and expand on anything that we covered today with myself, Adam, John, and Kevin. But if others want to learn a little bit more about DigiDeck and some of the integration work, other things like that, please, again, just go ahead and answer that pop-up that will appear on your screen. And thank you all again for joining, and tune into our next webinar. Again, Adam, John, Kevin, thank you so much. Great ideas shared today, and looking forward to seeing many successes come from all that you guys are doing with your organization. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for having
All
us.
right. Take care, everyone. Thanks. Bye-bye.
Bye.